I am outside of Whole Foods to commemorate and honor Jeff Bezos' interesting purchase of this establishment, but more so to create a video on a fundamental personal development topic that I have somehow forgotten to do a video on, which is scarcity versus abundance mindset. Now, this is something that gets really woo-woo very quickly, and I am clearly someone who prefers things that are very science-backed and organized and evidence-based, and there's like specific successful people who have used this and seen specific results from that. So I will focus my explanations on this topic on just those things, and maybe even give you some hints on where you should stay away from people using this topic. Let's get started. So what is scarcity mindset and what is abundance mindset? Well, it's pretty obvious from the name itself. Scarcity mindset you believe on a conscious or unconscious level that the world is limited, that there's only so much out there, and then you base off your behavior off all of that. So let's say you have no friends, or you're really poor, or you think there's only so many people or things out there, you will claw and try and keep whatever you can have. Now on the flip side, if you have abundance mindset, then you think, okay, I may not be rich yet, or I am rich, but I will be rich one day because there's plenty of money to be made and plenty of opportunities out there. Or you know what, I can't find my business partner, or I can't find this person yet that I want to date or whatever, but there are plenty of fish in the sea and I will find them even if I live in a small town now with not many options. You get the point. So that's basically where it is, and that's what people preach. Now the woo-woo people, the spiritual guys, they'll be like abundance mindset. That's clearly something that is awesome and you should use it everywhere. And then they'll extrapolate this to use it in multiple different areas. So for example, let's say they'll say something like this, and don't do this. This is just an example of what the woo-woo people will say you do. They'll say like, oh, the abundance mindset, it's incredibly powerful. Therefore, you should be abundant and just sit on your couch and use the law of attraction and the secret. And you don't have to work hard, you don't have to do anything. You can sit on your couch, keep watching that TV show, and continue remaining in debt. Don't look for other jobs. If you do, you can do that, but it doesn't matter if you do it excessively. Just sit there on your butt. You have to do no work, just change your mindset and let the law of attraction flow into your life. And before you know it, you'll be rich. Now obviously, this isn't a miracle cure, because I don't see any people who have used this as a miracle cure and successfully become rich, at least not consistently and in large numbers. So that's where it kind of stops, and that's where you should kind of avoid it. Yet a lot of people will use this, or they'll use some variation of this abundance mindset to do something, and clearly it's not working. Like, you have to put in the work, you have to plan, you have to make specific actions and take specific steps while having this mindset in place. So why do people like Robbins and other successful entrepreneurs use abundance mindset? Well, there are specific, actionable, measurable examples where you can use this and it will be effective. So for example, let's say you're in the personal finance niche, which is what Robbins is in. Now, as a personal finance leader, how might the abundance mindset be used wrongly, and how might it be used correctly? Let's do a correct example first. Robbins Sethi, he often says, use the abundance mindset so that you don't claw and stick to things as if you were broke once you've become rich. So clearly, remnants of your poverty lifestyle or poverty behavior or thinking can remain after you become rich. For example, you still cut out coupons and you still eat at fast food places even though you're now rich and you can afford more. Well, what's the problem with that? It comes at a hidden cost. You're killing your body with all this pizza and fast food. So that's one area where the poverty or scarcity mindset can cripple you. Another is like just buying something expensive to buy something expensive. Robbins Sethi says sometimes it's just worth doing. Like, you don't have to have a reason behind it. If you have all the money, if you have a lot of money, you can do this, but because you don't, that can cripple you in other ways. Maybe you just really want to enjoy yourself for once and buy something nice, but you don't give yourself that leverage ever. Well, basically preventing yourself from having as pleasurable a life as you potentially could, because you have the money there, you're rich beyond the ages, yet you're still crippling yourself by restricting yourself from buying anything expensive. So that's another way. And you get the point, you know, he gives a bunch of different examples. You know, maybe your kid could get a better education at Ivy League, but because you want to save some money that you don't need to save, because you don't even need to spend it because you're already rich, you choose to take your kid to a school that's a little bit cheaper, even though he could get a better education at the Ivy League. Now, where can abundance/scarcity mindset be used wrongly in the personal finance industry? Well, it's very one obvious example is to use it when you're broke or in debt. And I think this is where Dave Ramsey and other personal finance people get it wrong. I think they fall into the trap of confirmation bias. So one of the examples that Dave Ramsey and Michael Masterson and a few others have used, like Larry Winget, these personal finance people, they'll say, oh, when I was broke and in debt, I didn't have any money, but I used the abundance mindset and I went out and bought an expensive $100 steak dinner because I wanted to believe I was rich and I wanted to visualize that I was rich. So I did that even though I couldn't pay for it. Tony Robbins has done the exact same thing too. He went to a buffet and he paid for it with money he didn't have, and then a child asked him, a child didn't ask him, he just gave away the last money he had, even though that was all the money he had. He was straight up broke. And then the next day or the next week, I got a check in the mail from someone who owed me money but hadn't paid it for months. And then they credit that to the law of attraction or abundance mindset, when it was maybe just the fact that it just so happened that this guy eventually wanted to pay you back or had to pay you back the debt that he owed you. So I can't really buy into that. I would not credit that as to divine intervention or law of attraction or abundance mindset. Yet a lot of people do. They say, oh, it was the law of abundance that all of a sudden drew this money back into me. Well, maybe it's because they owed you money and they just had to pay it back to you, and that's how you got $5,000 into your bank account the next day or the next week. So I don't like that one. However, I do see the power of the law, the abundance mindset when used properly. So I think Tony Robbins' example, when you view it from another lens, he does use it correctly after that. So what happens after is that he exits that buffet. He just gave the last $5 and change he had to this little kid who you know, he met, and because he liked that kid, and he was like, this kid's awesome. Even though it was the last bit of money he had, he was now flat broke. And then he walked out of the store crying. It was actually a very emotional story. So I really respect that. It moves me a lot. But now he was flat broke. He didn't have any marketable skills. And then his story just kind of stops there, and he says, like, and now look at me, 20 years later, I'm a multi-millionaire and I travel the world on helicopters speaking at these speaking engagements and so forth. So he used the abundance mindset in the sense where he knew that there are other opportunities to make money and turn your life around when you're broke. So he used it to change his behavior on how he would act after he was broke. I think that's where the magic happens. Tony was dead broke. He just gave his last $5 to this kid for a buffet, but he didn't just sit on his ass like he would have with the scarcity mindset and just said, like, okay, I'm screwed. I'm gonna sit here on and act homeless because there's no ways to make money and I'm screwed, which is what many homeless people do, and they remain homeless for the next 10 years. No, what this guy did was he said, okay, I am screwed, I am homeless. He actually did cry. There were tears pouring down both of his eyes. But afterwards, he decided to do something about it. He started looking for opportunities and took action, and he mentored under a top motivational speaker, Jim Rohn, and he learned from them, and he delivered in value with his time and effort and his speaking skills what he couldn't in terms of money because he didn't have money. So he invested his time and energy instead, and slowly but surely his income rose slowly but surely every year and every year, and he just kept over delivering and delivering that value through a function that paid out. And slowly but surely, you know, at first he wasn't making much money as a speaker. Next year, not much. But year in and year out, he did it for decades. And there you have it. So I want to challenge you to go and think of a creative way the abundance and scarcity mindset can be used outside of the obvious ways, like with money, and report back to me. Leave a comment on my blog, because that's the most likely place I will go to read it, and the highest chance that you will get a response back. Leave a comment on my blog, anywhere on my blog, any blog post, just letting me know that you came from this video, and that and come up with and write a comment telling me a creative way the scarcity or abundance mindset can be used and applied to increase the success in your life. I'll give you one just to start off this challenge. It can be applied in the dating niche. Think about it this way. Many people are very scarce, and they think that they don't have many opportunities, and they think that there's only so many people out there, and that the people that they get will only be people who annoy them, tear them down, or people that will you know, ruin their lives or ruin their children's lives, or be abusive or horrible people, and that the best that they can do is tolerate a unideal partner. And it happens all the time, and it leads to a lot of corrosive, bad relationships. Because of this, they settle for horrible, abusive relationships because of this scarcity mindset. They don't believe that it's possible that there could be a partner out there in abundance. There could be an abundant amount of people out there who like them, who would want to be partners, lifelong partners with them, who not only support them, but make them better human beings, make them earn more money, and live healthier lives. So that's one way that the abundance and scarcity mindset can manifest and trigger your behaviors. How can it be used in another way that I haven't thought of? Let me know, and how will it apply to your life? Thanks, and if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button.